Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox here, on the show this evening is your Jim, the rising star of Rangers Radio. Oh, Robert, how we doing, boys?
Good evening. Evening, Robert. Evening, Fox.
Evening, Ox. Evening, Jim. Good to be with you two guys.
Yes. Good to see a JM in there, yep. Right, okay. I was going to say a quiet day. It'll be a quiet week, Jim, eh? It's only Tuesday.
No. I know. Plenty more to go this week as well, isn't there? Aye, it's been an interesting few days.
What's your take on it, mate? Yeah, I'll ask Robert the same after you, mate. What's your take on it? Your personal take, mate?
I'm not too disappointed to see Farewell go. Well, go. He's surprised it lasted this long, maybe, but I honestly don't know why it taken them so long. I think the big thing now is the most important thing to me is to get the director of football sorted more than a CEO. To me, the CEO is the guy that's actually who they put in there. A lot of people said probably could have been the CEO. But as I'm saying, I think the director of football needs to be sorted pronto.
Right, okay, mate. All right. I get your thing about Farewell. I've got a gut feeling, nothing to back this up. I think the decision was made as soon as the bag Martin, mate. I think they were just giving themselves a bit of breathing space and maybe looking and see what they could do and get covering all the options. Just my take on it. What about yourself, Robert? What's your personal take on the whole thing?
I'm not shocked, mate, by the news. To be honest with you, I think we've all discussed it in depth in this show previously that their changes had to be made. What I will say I'm surprised at is that both went at the same time. I know you could argue a case for either side to maybe not have both going at the one time, but I think the fact that they both went gave you that idea that Cavan alluded to in the statement that there was focus on the two of them once the manager was appointed. And I think that was the correct way to do it. I think once you get the manager in place, they allowed the focus and the scope to be on the off-field matters. So not shocked, mate, but surprised that both went at the same time because, as Jim says, we've now got to fill two positions. But what I'm not sure, Ox, is in the statement at the end, obviously Fraser Thornton's been put in as kind of acting CEO. There isn't a mention of a director of football. So it'll be interesting to see if we do continue down that route and down that setup, or if maybe that's where the change in vision or alignment maybe broke down.
I said, if we just look at recruitment, if you just take recruitment, it goes up the way, then it comes down the way when the stuff runs in an organisation. They will come in line with Patrick Stewart, whether you liked it or no. People say came for the Premiership, maybe help us attract better players. Well, Jim, it's been an unmitigated disaster. We've watched these guys and there's been the odd moment, but collectively they've been abysmal.
Shocking. We spoke about three there before you come in, big man. And to me, the one who I'd begin it stinking more than any of the rest of them is the boy Gasman. I think his attitude's been absolutely disgraceful. Felt the weekend there, how he lasted so long on that park, beyond me.
Didn't have a good game. I mean, along with others, mate. Along with others, the first half, well, I don't know what he was trying to achieve. You need more strength to your ball. I wouldn't mind having a training session with Gasman, mate. You've got to, when you're a guy that comes inside, you've got to go outside. You've got to go outside so the defender's in two minds. It's got to be part of your game. If you've only got one string to your ball, you know what I mean? You're easy to defend against. even if you're good at it, Robert.
Aye, you're spot on, mate. And again, you could compare that to the other side with Antman. I've not seen him go down the line at all, other than his first game. He's always coming inside, so we can predict what he's going to do, which means other teams can as well. And as soon as you come into that middle of the park, you're surrounded by other bodies. Your wingers are meant to supply width and create chances, and that's ultimately why we're not scoring enough goals, we're not creating enough, because our wingers aren't doing what we'd expect as wingers. Now, whether they've got instruction to come inside or not, again, comes down to a tactical approach, but they've got the skill, they've got the pace, use it, because right now we're not seeing it. And as you said, recruitment, that's what it all boils down to. The whole point of recruitment is replace the players that you've left with better, and we haven't.
Sometimes you can't do that, mate. Sometimes it's not possible, yeah? Somebody leaves a club and he's been really successful, or maybe let his contract run it, you know, and you might have to settle for somebody that has maybe a notch left. You know, you've got to be realistic. That can happen to any club. But however, these haven't been close to anything, you know, that it's been abysmal. And our best player, arguably, this season has been Jack Butland, Jimmy.
Aye, people had a go at the weekend there, but to me it was on your big guy Giger again. But see the thing it's a bit worrying to me. Well, Saturday was probably the worst that I've seen. I think I've seen maybe this season, but we won. But the biggest thing that's alarming to me, I know we're talking about Gasman and Antman. To me, the way they're getting set up and how they're told to tuck in. To me, I'm looking at that again, and I'm thinking Michael Beale, the exact same tactics. Whereas we're going down, they're tucking inside. They're not giving us any width. And I think that's where the worry is. If we're getting nothing. Michael Beale set up the team the exact same way.
By the inverted wingers, mate, it's a modern trend, you know. Sometimes to do it with the fullbacks. Try to reinvent the wheel. If you're outstanding, Robert, you can do it. If you're regularly scoring and making chances, but you have to keep it simple and do the thing that's right. Stretch teams, use the width of the park, make the gaps bigger. They'll have them compact when they have their back six. And back to Saturday's game, when they have a back six at times, and you can just all shovel across, and you're all within the width of the 18-yard box. But the players, I mean, the coaching staff, and it's a new coaching staff, they have to take some responsibility. But when the game starts, the players have to work that middle out, yeah? That you know, they're no robots. They're players. They have to have that flair, that imagination, that game intelligence is all what causes it to work out these problems. And most of the time so far, collectively, our whole team is falling short. Entertaining and performance, Robert.
Aye, I think it was Billy last night that mentioned every single one of the players that came off the park on Saturday hadn't even broke a sweat. So there was no urgency, no intensity. And you could train for as much as you want all week to try and do that and try and get that working. But as you say, as soon as your players cross that white line, it's down to them. Now, as I said in a previous show, the players got a lot away with a lot of stuff under the Russell Martin era because a lot of scrutiny was on him, and rightly so. But now they've had a change of management. It was all down to the players' reaction about trying to fix the wrongs in their own performances as individuals and collectively. And as you said, we've seen it in moments, we've seen it in some individuals in spells, but collectively as a team performance, we're still a million miles away from where we want to be. And again, we'll look at individual players and think, are they going to actually get us to where we want to be? Do they have the quality? Do they have the ability? Right now, no, they don't. That's what we need to address. That again comes back to recruitment, which again comes back to your man Thelwell. So it's that pyramid where your players aren't performing. Is it ability? Is it quality? Well, if it's quality, why do we bring them in? Who do we look at? And that's what we've done. And the only way we can improve it is with this fresh change under our new director of football, if that's to be the case, that we get better quality in that can produce performances with results of course, it's a results business. You look at Saturday, it's an ugly win, which I'll say we got away with one. It's definitely a handball and a penalty to Livingston, by the way. But it's an ugly win. But we can't just have ugly wins for the rest of the season.
Oh, we can. We can. If we won every game 2-1 for the end of the season, mate, I'd be delighted if we played like we did against Livingston. Jim, what about you?
Oh, aye. Again, games we won 1 weeks ago. We probably won 1 week ago.
I take your point, Robert. I mean, it's no great to watch, but what I'm saying is, if we were sitting where Hearts were sitting this now, and we'd won that game like that on Saturday, we'd say, right, okay, we'll take that, we'll park it, and we'll move on. But you're looking at everything because of was such a poor start to the season. Would that not be fair, Robert?
Aye, everything comes under a microscope.
Aye, listen, I get it. Performances. I mean, that was as bad as the end under Martin, if you're honest. Right, okay. So we agreed that the game's poor. You don't want to dissect it, do you? I agree with Robert. I think it was a penalty. But by the way, I was also, bizarrely, I want to know what that linesman seen when he chopped out that goal off, Jim. I want to know what he's seen to chop that goal off, because they were never offside at any time, at any point. Yeah? So he's either incompetent and it's another one that doesn't know the rules. Or they've got agendas. I just wonder. Yeah? By the way, Jim, what do you make of last night's incident? Would you give a red card for that at the Everton?
I didn't see it. I never seen it.
Your missus has hit you hard on that, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to see if you can find it, mate, interesting, you know. But I mean, you get a red card for that, but in Scotland, you're allowed to kick somebody in the heat deliberately, and you get away with it, you know. Just the way I see it, Robert.
Aye, I didn't see it as a red card, mate. I think David Moyes came out and said he didn't mind it, showed a bit of passion, so that his teammates cared about each other and the performance and the result. If that's a red card, then the game's gone, to be honest with you, mate. And as you say, there's been a lot more incidents recently, especially up here, that have been worthy of a red card and not been addressed. So, a bizarre one, but it just shows you the difference between north and south of the border.
Interesting. Right, getting back to what happened at the club yesterday. The two of them didn't look a good fit at any time, if you're being honest, Jimmy.
Definitely not. And I said then when I watched the aftermath of the carry on at Falkirk, I think Fairwell was pulling the strings in there. I keep on going back to the view it showed you when they were standing in the tunnel. The boy Stuart looked, it's as if he's like a wee boy looking up to Fairwell. I think that Fairwell was the one that was pulling the strings within the club, and I think he underestimated Rangers Football Club.
Aye. I don't doubt that for a minute. I also think he underestimated Scottish football, if that makes sense, Robert.
Aye, it's exactly. Scottish football as a whole, but as Jim says, the club as well, the demand, the expectations on what we expect as supporters, they've not been met, far from it. And ultimately the fault lies with them. Again, Patrick Stewart was in the job just, I think it's a year this month that he's been in the job. But he came under pressure right away with everything that was happening last season. So he's always kind of been one for it. Fairwell didn't do himself any favours with the signings, and obviously the standout would be the money spent in Chermiti. Still to this day, don't understand that amount of fee that we've paid for him. And that's against him, because he's the one that signs it off. He's praised this player publicly, said he can produce something and we're getting a good deal here. No, we're not. But listen, wherever Fairwell goes next, I hope he's going to give us £8 million back for Chermiti, if not more.
Interesting to see where he pops up going forward, mate. Yeah, I just don't know, mate. Oh, that's a mistake. Some of the players he's brought in, yeah, they looked all right and they looked as if they could cut the mustard, but ultimately they failed. He'll be judged on that. The thing that frustrated me more was the gaslighting, was insulting intelligence. Well, lies don't lie. Well, eyes don't lie, Jim. We know what we're watching. We know that the big fella has been appalling for 90% of the times he's been on the pitch. We know that some of the other guys haven't looked fit enough, i.e. Rothwell, Max Aarons at times, yeah. We know that some of the lone players have been shocking. We know, yeah, and we know that some of our players that have been there before haven't been up to the mark neither. So they're not escaping criticism neither. But collectively, the players he's bringing in my opinion, Jim, he was due the bag.
Aye, they due to get it, and I'm glad they done it. They knew, because I wouldn't give him another brown penny. And I think if he's left any,
How could you?
that's what I'm saying. I'm glad they done it. But see if he's left any kind of dossier in there, by the way, own players. I hope it's been parked in the bin the same time as they parked him out the door.
He put that one in the bonfire, Robert. Huh?
Aye, you certainly could, mate. Listen, see that as well as I said it before on the show as well. The director of football obviously concludes and signs off these deals and things like that, and you could have a 10-man scouting list that their scouts have went and got, and then you narrow that down to maybe 2 or 3 who are realistic and approachable and all that kind of stuff. But for me, the bigger issue as well lies with the scouting department as well. If the group of players we brought in the summer are honestly the best quality that we could have got at that time, I think questions need to be looked at in that department as well, because if they're the kind of guys that they're bringing to the table, then again, how can you trust that the next group of players that bring in are going to be any better?
No, we're shopping at a particular market. That's how you have to be clever. You know how you have to get it right, and you have to bring in people. You know, sometimes to attract them to Scottish football, you might have to pay over the odds for where they sit and the salaries are entitled to. Our league doesn't help us because of the mess. Somebody sent me this. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show before. Then you go, Jim, look at this. We play Aberdeen twice in January in a week. Yeah, we could draw them in the cup and play them in January. They could make the top 6. So we could play them 4 times between January and the end of the season in the league. Once in the cup. Nearly 8 plays now, thankfully. And then the season starts up. Next season, we play them twice before Christmas.
Again, that's
draw them in the League Cup, mate. And that's 8 times in a calendar year. It's ridiculous, mate.
I know. But it's where we were, and it's like the turkeys voted for Christmas. That's what they want, big man.
I know, I get it, mate. But they're killing the game, and there's no vision, no thing. But that's enough about Scottish football. Back to your club. Patrick Stewart, he's part of the management team that made all these bad decisions. I think it's a good fit that he leaves the club as well. Time to move on. It's the big. I think you said it before we came on air, Jim. It's about getting it right now. Eh?
I think they need to get it right now. how long it takes and whatever else. This is massive, because these guys probably don't know. I'm not saying these guys are no football guys. This is a business for him, but there needs to be somebody Rangers orientated has to go on side with him now. Here,
who would you think? Is there anybody that springs to mind for you? You've heard
I would have said back in the day Graham Souness, but Graham Souness' days are done regarding things like this. But there needs to be, I think there needs to be Rangers involvement, Rangers people advising these guys now. They can't take the advice after Thirlwell and Stewart. Stewart's not a Rangers man. And whatever else, man, it's mental. It's
But who springs to mind? Who fits that bill for you, mate?
Pass on that one. I don't know.
There's no an obvious candidate. Davy Weir's a name it's obviously been touted about quite quickly in the media. You know, but there's
no. David Weir's staying up a position with the French team, is he not?
He's just moved. He's just took a new job.
Is it Strasbourg or something?
Aye. Aye, but obviously understands the club. He comes from the west of Scotland. He's played for us for 5 years. He was successful. He captained us, won trophies. But aye, I get your rationale, but there's no obvious candidate when it comes to that. Who's the right age and profile at the moment? Any thoughts, Robert?
No, I mean, I think, see, when it comes to these kind of roles within the club as a director of football, you can maybe name a few, like Davy Weir, or somebody that's maybe had experience in the Premier League as a director of football, but everything else, like CEO, it's not something as supporters would take much notice of and say, there's a candidate for you. I think Davy Weir's obviously the main director of football that was available a few weeks ago. As you see, he's moved to Strasbourg. Do you still try and open that conversation? Would he be willing to move from a club he's just joined to come to Rangers? Would the appeal be there from him on a personal level? Possibly, aye. But again, after that, you couldn't really name and understand it. And it was the same conversation that we had when we were looking for a new manager. There was no obvious standout. Gerard's name was obviously always going to be mentioned and will continue to be mentioned whenever with another manager merry-go-round. But off-field positions, it's not something us supporters would look too closely at.
I don't know if a CEO needs to have a business, needs to have a football acumen. It's a different role altogether. But I take Jim's point about the director of football. In an ideal world, it would be somebody that understands the club. Is that the point you're making, Jim?
Aye, possibly. See on the David Weir one. I thought that David Weir, when he was on the panel at the Rangers and Falkirk game, he didn't seem to know too much about Rangers squad as it is now. He asked a lot of kind of crazy questions to me about Rangers as if he didn't know anything about it. To me, I think he's well out that circle regarding Rangers. I think that ship sailed. I don't think he's one that we should be looking at.
If know him, then who then, mate?
Well, that's what the boss men are in there for.
I'm giving you free rein. You want a Rangers man in there? Who?
Don't know.
It's no easy because there's no obvious candidate. Yeah, if that makes sense, Robert.
That's exactly. There isn't.
I think, see, the interim one that's in just now, the CEO, Fraser Thornton, he's a well-known business guy, right? He's obviously involved with golfing and in the whiskey industry. He's a chartered accountant. He's probably an ideal person to just take on the CEO full time. I know you mentioned earlier that he could and should maybe do the job. He's got the business knowledge to do that role itself. Director of football, how important is it as a Rangers man? Is it maybe just would you rather a Rangers man, or would you rather somebody with a good knowledge of football globally?
I don't care as long as we win football matches. Yeah, there's pros and cons in both. You put up an argument for both. The individuality of Scottish League, Jimmy, it would make sense of.
I think it does, but I think that the main thing we need to look at is the director of football more than anything else. You know, the business thing will sort itself out. But as I'm saying, this director of football thing needs to be sorted out, and who that is beyond me. I on a lot of forums like yourselves and all that, the rest of it, and some of the comments and where they want people to come from and all the rest of it. I mean, the start of the season, we said there about signing Shankland, the boy that's playing in the Hibs game, and him that came for Dundee. The Rangers fans turned their nose up at these guys as if, but we're too good for them. Then we've watched this Dross coming in the new. People were excited with these guys at the start of the season. Look how it's developed.
Aye. Right, I think we better get the phone lines open. Used to, gentlemen. Yeah, he's all right with it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, a shout out to Mr. Fox, who's not with us tonight. I think he's entertaining. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, entertaining.
Can I see a wee shout out for my pals for the fit They're all out
No.
plodding the streets of Glasgow now.
No.
They'll know who I'm talking about because they'll be listening in.
Carry on, Jim. Get it about.
Right? They'll know who it is. Big Paula, wee sister Jean, wee Marathon Man John, and Big Biscuit Medill. You know, they're out pounding the streets now. I think they're up somewhere up the north of the city now. Get the miles going, guys. I couldn't go tonight because I was on here.
You usually get the meat. You don't know why you get the miles gone when the meter's running, mate.
Right, we'll see him here.
Right, we better get these phone lines on. Let's hear from these. Right, hopefully we'll get our sorted in a second. Come and join us 0141 356 1972. Come in, we'll get you in as soon as possible. Phone in, we'll get back to you and bring you into the call. It's been an interesting time. When I woke up Monday morning, I didn't think this would happen. I thought Thirlwell, I didn't see how they could let him go forward to the transfer window, but I didn't think the two of them would go. So that's gone. So Martin's gone. So all the negativity has been sucked out of this situation. Was it time to get a shoulder to the wheel? Hopefully keep going, getting results. Hopefully some performances. And get to January, bring players in and see where it takes us. Because the season's not done, Jim. It's not done.
Nah, it's definitely not done. But do we put ourselves in as real contenders just now with the way the football we're playing?
You couldn't be confident about us beating anybody at the moment, mate, if you're honest.
Nah, you couldn't.
You know, but if you keep winning matches, we're forming the last 6 games as the best in the league. There's a mental stat for you, Robert.
Aye, it's crazy to think, mate, considering where we were and the thoughts we had around the squad and where we were going a few weeks ago. And you've got to give credit to Danny Rule for that, because he's came in, won the league games that we were looking for points to get on the board, climb up the table. And there's been results that have helped us as well with teams above us. And the gap isn't as big as what it was when he came in. There's still a lot of football to be played, mate. And as you said, it's just getting results. Obviously, we'd like good performances to be entertained as supporters and results go with it. But aye, listen, I said it earlier on, you can't keep winning ugly, but I suppose you can. And if you get a Bridgeman every week, then you're laughing. And so's Bridgeman.
It's not good for the heart, but it's not good for the heart.
No.
You know, but I get your performance, you know. Where do you see the problems then, Robert? Football-wise? Where does Robert think the problems lie?
I think it just comes down to the quality it's on the park, mate. There's players there that, again, have showed in glimpses their ability, but it's about doing it consistently and when it matters the most, not in games that you'd maybe say is a meaningless or dead rubber game. It's games that are crucial. I mean, you saw the semi-final, for example. The desire was there, the effort was there, but again, it came down to quality on the day. Big chances missed, big moments of the game, and that's what it comes down to. So for me, it's just the quality that we've got on show at the minute. Aye, there's players in there, a handful that have got ability. It's just they haven't produced it consistently enough.
Yeah. And where's the issues then? You're the new director of football. Jim's gave you the job. You know what I mean? And he's let you come in, and you're the man, and you've got to sit down with Danny Rawl. What do you think Danny Rawl will say? Right, what's the first problem in the team? What do you think Danny Rawl would say?
Not being creative enough. Need creative players. Need to get a striker that can score goals, but we need to get creative players that can create the chances for them. You go back to the summer. You spend £8 million on Chermiti, who was unknown, unproven, And again, the argument's always been there for a number of years. But Lawrence Shankland was available. A guy that does know the league, would have walked to Ibrox and would have got you goals. But it's fine signing him if you did. You're still not creating enough. So the issue is just the players we're bringing in.
I said
They're
it
not
last
good enough.
week, mate. If Haaland had been playing up front on Saturday, wouldn't have scored.
No, you're right. He didn't even score on Saturday either for Man City. So your point's very valid, mate, because again, we're not creating enough. We're starting to play more in the right areas. Again, it comes down to that quality, that finishing touch. You might pass the ball about and do some good things, but see if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, it means nothing.
Aye,
Does the bigger issue come from the whole scouting network and where they're actually looking? I mean, you look at you see Hearts pulling in that Braga and the other boy who they're playing up front with him. All right, I know they get beat at the weekend. The enthusiasm and the way they're playing and to what our guys are playing. I know people say, aye, but it's different playing for Rangers. But if you're a talented football player, how are these teams picking up these players? The mere no and the dross that we're getting.
It's a fair comment, mate. It's a fair comment. Did you mention Dross?
Aye.
All right. Evening, Smurf. Come on, Smurf. Oh, he's on mute. You'll be talking to yourself. Aye. Aye, listen, mate. That's one. That's his remit, but he's in charge of overall of that whole department. And if they're signing up and coming up with names and players, and these are the guys that fit in your budget, and they think these are a good fit, mate, you've got a point, mate. Collectively, he's been let down, but ultimately, he's in charge of that department, Robert.
He is, at that moment in time he is. But Ox, you know yourself, mate, recruitment for a good number of years has been poor. So it's not a new thing. So as much as he's held to account for this period of time, absolutely. But it's been a big problem for us for a good number of years. And that's been different directors of football. Nils Coppin, Mark Allen, to name a few, Ross Wilson. So you've got directors of football in, but still the players that come in haven't cut it. A lot more negatives or losses than we've actually got positives in signings. So that's for me why I said it looks to me as the scouting network or what the instruction is to go and identify players isn't strong enough or good enough. And I think that's maybe where we need to focus the next focus on, that department as a whole.
Aye. I think for me, there's common sense involved with it. Yeah, so you decide what your priority is and what your positions are. You obviously, through the business, you'll be told what your budget is, Jim. How much you've got to spend in an individual. You're not going to spend £8 million on a 21-year-old that's hardly played a game of football. There's no scored a goal. Well, we did, didn't we? Right, so you prioritise, in your budget, and it might mean that some of the decisions you make will depend whether people leave the club and you bring in some revenue and your free wages up. All these things come into play. So I don't think it's as easy as us for the outside think it is. So you decide you're going to go for, say, a right back. You see, right, who's available, right, who's in my market, how much do we want to spend, and if a transfer fee, if at all. And then what's the wages that go along with that transfer fee, or how much did you get? You bring somebody in at the end of the contract, does he fit the bill? Is he physically big enough to play in the league? You wouldn't think they would sign absolutely midgets all of the park, 2 fullbacks, 2 midfielders, who to play in Scottish football. That wouldn't happen, Jim, would it?
No, but it probably goes back to again what we were saying there about underestimating Scottish football. Scottish football is not the easiest league in the world to go and play in. There's been bigger players, I'm talking about name-wise, no height, than these guys have came to Scotland and failed. You're not getting time on the ball here to play your silky football, which they're probably used to down the road. They're allowed 20 touches before somebody tackles them. Up here, 2 or 3 touches and you're getting smashed. It's not the easiest place to play football.
No. So you have to see who's got the cojones to play in your league, mate. That's also important. Who's up for the physical challenge, yeah? And we failed in that recruitment. Hopefully, Smurf versus now. Even the Smurf, you need to take yourself off mute, Smurf. There we go.
I've done
now. Yeah, speak.
Aye, no, I could just sort of call up. I don't know what you boys are thinking, but I think that that decision was made a long time ago, and I just think now that Bellwell sort of appointing his boy and bringing people up, it just seemed like he was shoring himself up, his position or whatever, and ultimately these people, Andrew Kavanagh and co, they're not mugs. They're serious people, and they've been calculated, and it might seem a bit delayed, but they've been very decisive. But they've been calculated how they went about it, and I think financial fair play, if it allows, I think in January they'll go again. I really do.
When you say go again, how many players do you think?
I think we need, as a minimum, we probably need 3 players right through the spine of the team. A centre half, a dominant centre half, your first name in the team sheet, as it were. A number 6, and I think we need a striker. You could throw a 10 in the mix if I was going to say 3 or 4. But
you could go all day, couldn't you, mate? If you're honest,
you get a new team, but we need to get the spine of the team right. So a centre half and a 6, and probably a striker. The boy Chermiti, I'd put him on loan, out on loan. I don't know, Queen of the South or something maybe. And no, but he's a development player, isn't he? If you think we brought Iggerman in, similar profile and age, if you like, nowhere near the outlay, and 2 or 3 times a player, it's a disaster. So I think they just need to call it for what it is, and more sort of.
Would you have bagged them, Smurf? Would you have bagged the 2 of them?
Oh, absolutely. And I think they went the right way about it. It wasn't a case of get 3 of them at the same time. It was a case of it was measured. Obviously, the manager had to go, and he's come out and he said they've definitely been sacked. He's made no bones about that. Then they throw mud at them, and they're already down the road with speaking to people. So, with that in mind, I think in all probability, when they were looking for a manager, they were probably looking for replacements for day 2 as well for quite a while now. And it's been a damning indictment when our current manager was interviewed and walked away and then came back. Gerrard's walked away because he wasn't happy with behind the scenes setup, and neither was Muscat. So if you're a new CEO, a new chairman, you're a new owner of a club, and you're not a mug, he's reputed to be worth $4.5 billion. You're going to act. You've got to act, and he's done that. But he's been very measured. I do think though that the chairman himself, he's been getting a bit of stick, I've seen in the media, where he's, it's ultimately it's his show and he's appointed him or whatever. But this guy's got very limited knowledge of Scottish football probably, and you're relying on folk. So I think there needs to be a wider reshuffle. I don't like the Leeds United chairman being the vice chairman of Rangers. I don't like that at all. I think that needs to change. I think a reliance on the 49ers, whether it's a useful partnership, but I don't think it should define us, and I don't think it should define our actual chairman. I think he needs to be his own man, and at the right time, ditch those 49ers stabilisers, because the 49ers don't own Rangers. They're partners, they're shareholders, just like anybody else is a shareholder. And I think we sort of maybe think the chairman maybe needs to outgrow that partnership and not be over reliant on it. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Wow, that's a big question. Can we just turn it back a bit, mate, if that's all right? Aye. There's a lot in there, mate. Oh, I don't disagree with you. I'll go to Robert with this, but I think if we get 2 in, and then it depends what Raskin does. If Raskin goes, maybe you get 3, maximum 4, you'll have done really well in January. Yeah, but this then, and if you get a 3/4 hit rate out of them 4, you've done really well. Yeah, because it doesn't, even in a good season, Robert, no all signings are work out right away. So that's what we've got, the position we've got ourselves in. But a lot of people will be looking for the same players in the same positions, and that's what makes it difficult, mate.
It does, mate, and we all know that January's a hard window to shop in. Predominantly, you're more successful in the summer window getting players in, but the guys that we do bring in, Ox, they need to be, for me, I think you said it last night, starters, not squad players, first team starters. And Smurf's right, central defence is a big aspect. I think we knew that getting into the window. I think it's also been kind of up to ante a wee bit, given the injuries to Suter and Cornelius. And it shows you how kind of vulnerable we are at the back with Jigger and Fernandez. So that was always going to be a starting point for us. Midfield, we know we've got nothing. We've got no power. Barron works his socks off, but he's not that kind of player that will carry you through a game and win you something. Raskin, for me, hasn't been the same player since he was out the squad. Diamondi's not kicked a ball, so we definitely need a midfielder in there. And of course, we always look at the top line, a striker, because we're not scoring goals. But again, it comes back to chance creation. If we created more chances, good chances, would we have a better goal scoring return? Arguably, aye. But the quality we've got at the minute with the strikers, we've not seen it to be guaranteed it. So Smurf's right, a spine of the team is what you need. And for me, as difficult as it will be in the January window, it's a minimum of 3 or 4, if I'm being honest. And that's regardless of Raskin's situation. But it's a tough window to shop in.
Jim? Oh, Jim, you with us, mate?
I'm still here.
Aye, I'm
Evening, Smurf. I'm 5 with a minimum of 4. That's what I think there. To me, the midfield big time, offering absolutely no creativity, but also the centre backs. I think if you play Miovski in the right role and tap it him through the middle, that's where Miovski's got to be facing. Miovski's no point facing back to your goal. Miovski's the last man running onto a ball, and he proved it at the weekend there again with the winner at the weekend there. That's where that guy needs to be played, and that's how you need to be playing him. No playing the ball. Tail he's back to goal, facing your goal. Totally wasting the guy.
I just know that type of player. But is the problem then that sometimes, like Saturday, mate, he's not an automatic starter then because there's no room for him to run into. I mean, they were shuffling their 6 up and down, mate, and leaving very little space. They were going back to the 18-yard box. But your runs, you're going to be right on top of the keeper. So are you saying horses for courses, mate?
Aye, but again, we kind of spoke about earlier on there, with the guys who are playing wide, tucking inside. That's no helping that situation either, trying to break him. Because you played football yourself. You've got to stretch them.
Aye. Listen, mate, 5 players, I think that would be a lot. I just want to get it right. get it right, and that's the hard bit, Smurfy.
Aye, I think it's just getting one thing at a time, one piece of the jigsaw at a time, as it were. I'm saying 3 because I'm thinking about the spine of the team. But I think the most pressing is a decisive centre half who can play, who's a leader, a real leader, and who maybe we can go forward with as well, and know a development project and not a has been a proper player within the budget that we've got, and I think that's a necessity really. They can't get that wrong, and try and offload Chiga, try and send him back to his club. Berlin's looks like he'll be coming back. I mean, we don't know how long he'll be back for, but he looks like he's coming back. So
last night it was 7 minutes. But anyway, that's
allegedly.
Allegedly.
So if he, what, as in he came on for the last 7 minutes? Or
No, we got information fed through to us that he broke down after 7 minutes. Wasn't true, mate? But carry on, mate.
Right. So then, the wee fullback that's come up for Bournemouth, I can't remember his name. He's
Max Aarons.
Whatever his name is. Get rid of him, get him out the door.
I don't think that's going to happen in January, mate. I think we're tied with it too.
Aye, probably, but it's ultimately the chairman's come in. He's relying on other folk, and he's obviously got a handle on things now. Fraser Thornton's come back into the CEO role, and he would have been pivotal in the appointment of Stewart, and he's got that wrong. I know he was involved in that, and so he could probably hold that position at the end of the season. Fell well. I mean, I wouldn't be rushing out there to replace the two of them. Put it that way. I would take my time and I would just get it right. Come January, financing permitting, and the money's there. It's whether they're allowed to spend it. I would be looking to add to the spine of the team. My priority would be centre half. But like I've said, the 49ers, it might have been a comfort blanket for Andrew Kavanagh coming in, him holding his hand. You know, it's a new venture, etc. It's a business, so maybe doesn't know too much about, and he needs to learn quickly, and he needs to be his own man. And I think having the Leeds chairman as our vice chairman, I don't think that really works for me. I think we need to be our own separate entity and go forward. You know, they're there. They'll have their own analytics, so they'll be useful. But I don't know. It's too much has went wrong too early for me to have any confidence in the partnership. But I do believe that that they'll get this right. I believe Andrew Kavanagh will get this right. He's not come here to what money to fail.
You know what it's like, mate. You make a decision in organisations. You put somebody in that's not a good fit. The repercussions of that, you know, could unravel quickly, or it takes a while. They've got something wrong. Now, what that is, whether they've trusted Patrick Stewart or Thirlwell, they brought in Russell Martin, or they collectively, Robert, they've got something wrong, and the ripples have just became waves, mate, and then it's just became, well, enough's enough. And I think they've handled it reasonably well. People will argue, and rightly so, they should have done it quicker, but if you think about it, it's still November, mate, and they've active manager's gone a month ago now, innit? They've then moved him on, and I agree with Smith. I think the decision was made when the manager went that we have to get they're all gone, but they had to just give themselves a bit of time to breathe.
I agree, mate, and I alluded to it earlier on when Kavanagh spoke yesterday. He mentioned that the first priority was to replace Russell Martin, which allowed him time to look at the off-field positions of Fairwell and Stewart. And I agree. I think it's something that's been in the pipeline for some time. The way they came out and said that there's been discussions and we'll look to appoint somebody. That's not a thing that's happened relatively quickly. That's been a few weeks, maybe even months. But again, I agree with Smurf and yourself that they've done it the correct way. The first mistake was appointing Russell Martin, and Kavanagh came out, held his hands up, said he got it wrong. So you've got to kind of give him credit for that. He's recognised that under Fairwell and Stewart, we're not going to improve. They don't offer what we want and what they want as owners. So he's made that change. Agree, they need to get it right ultimately. But I think he said himself, they'll prioritise quality and fit over speed. And I think that's important given what we've seen this season and what mistakes have been made. They don't want a bad reputation for themselves making mistake after mistake. Arguably, again, you could say there's been one too many already in such a short space of time. But once you've notified or rectified an issue, or highlighted an issue, sorry, it's how you rectify it. And that's what we'll go and see when the next appointments are made. And that will only be done over time. And when we get players in, we judge them and what we see. And if the quality is better than what we've got now, then it's a good start.
I think they're guilty, the new regime, if you like, the new ownership, they're only guilty of trusting people that were in serious roles, senior roles, Jim. And when they've been let down with them quite quickly, they've got rid of them in the business. And one of the things that struck me yesterday when it first broke and I read the statements, etc., was the fact that weren't hiding it. There was no cosy chats where, right, okay, we need to come to some agreement here. They were sacked. They were told, they were bin bagged, clear your desk, go. No, that wasn't done in a croissants and a bacon roll. That's been come for a while, and that's I got us. The writing was on the wall when Martin went.
Possibly. But as you say, they probably put too much trust on Fairwell, and I think they've just really got here. Enough's enough. I think that they've maybe read the room with the banners, the chants. I mean, he did say yesterday about him, you know, about the fan chats and all the rest of it, basically saying that they are listening to the fans. Oh, well, it'll be interesting where we go next. I think they've just put too much trust in Fairwell. But Smurf, see what you were saying earlier on there about them, about this, how they wanted certain young guys who they were going to sell on and all that. The alarming thing for me is they kind of bought into that themselves because they did mention it. The trading thing. That to me is a bit of a worry.
Aye, well, I think ultimately we've got to have that kind of business model in place. But I think ultimately what you need to do for the get-go, you've not been winning the league for 3 or 4 years, and you need to get a squad in that's going to secure you the league, and it's going to secure you the league maybe year on year. Once you've established yourself as the de facto force in Scottish football, then you can start bringing in players who augment that winning squad that are going to go on and you can develop and then flog them on. You can't bring development players in, want to sell them on and win leagues with them. You just can't do it because to show anything at all, a club's going to come in and put an offer in that you're going to need to take. So you're constantly going to be breaking up the squad with the players that are at the required level. And the ones that aren't, you're never going to sell and they're not going to be good enough. So you've got to put the winning team, to put the cart before the horse.
But I think that's a worry of the owners, because the owners did mention that as well at the start there.
When you go through the players collectively and you look at them, right, Max Aarons, I brought him up for England. I think they thought that because he's played and he went to Spain, he'll be fine. In my opinion, he hasn't looked good enough. De Giga, first time I seen him, I thought, wow, he's quick for a centre back. He could be an asset. That's not worked out. Young boy back home, Robert, I don't know what you think. He's not a bad football player, but he's learning his trade, and I don't think anybody should be learning their trade where he's coming from the Rangers first team. Cornelius, time will tell. Lack of pace, not a bad player, but a heart, experienced pro, so maybe. The one that I thought would maybe help us and we come in and keep it simple and improve our team was Rothwell. Come in, done all right, allegedly last year. What a letdown. His fitness, his contribution, everything, and then you go up to the forwards. Well, we've watched them, the wide men, the consistency, Asgard. Yeah, young Lyle Cameron's had an injury. I don't know if he's going to be the answer, but he's certainly get a go, mate. The boy's got a big heart and a small body. And it's just been Mikey Moore. Well, the last couple of games, he's arguably my best player. Up until then, he'd been appalling. So none of them have hit the ground running. And it's just unbelievable. Jim, I just don't see how you could get so many so wrong.
See, like you're saying, so many so wrong. How many is after the first couple of games when we seen Antman and we seen Gassman, Gazama, we were all raving, we were all foaming at the mouth about them. And by Christ, you were right. They've went back away. Why? Why have they went back away?
For me, Jim, that's more about the player himself. I don't, as much as you can say it's recruitment and quality. For me, when a player comes in and shows a glimpse of what they can bring, and then they go backwards, that's down to the player mentality, attitude, application. We've mentioned it several times in the show. As much as you can say, recruitment's a factor. As Ox said earlier, if they go over that white line, or when they go over that white line, it's down to them to produce. And I think that's the performances that have been going backwards. It's down to the player.
Some of them, the decision making, their passing, the basics, has been poor because they're still highly paid football players in modern football, mate. We know we're not playing the same salaries as PSG, Man City, etc. But there's still everybody at our club will not be worrying about Christmas presents, Smurf.
Aye, of course. I think you're right. They're well paid. They're the young boys that have come into a bear pit. And when they first arrived, there's a couple of games, a few teething problems. You think, oh, well, a couple of them look no bad. Looks like it might come good or whatever. We can see the flaws in the system. And things don't go according to plan. You start getting put under pressure. It's relentless. It's 24/7 pressure. It's no pressure for 90 minutes during the game. It's everywhere you look. You can't leave your house. It's in.
We lost Smurf. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. If you gentlemen don't mind, Jim, Robert, you get yourself a mute. We're going to have a tune, yes?
Yep. Dancing shoes on.
All right, it's Fox is having a night off, as we said. This will be good because it's for old school boy.
Now, Dunbar, McCready, forward to Meiklejohn, to Dickey, back to Cunningham, and it's Morton over to Young, a neat pass to Brand. He hits it on, and yes, it's a goal! Listen to that Ibrox crowd roar as Rangers start the new year with a wonderful goal. And listen to Callum Kennedy as he sings with the crowd, the Rangers Chorus. Have you seen the Glasgow Rangers? Have you seen the boys in blue? They're admired by all who know them. If you saw them, so would you. Loved by all, they are good sportsmen. For fair play, they top
and victorious when the Rangers win the day. They have played way in Monaco, they have played in USA, but the greatest game in history is the game on New Year's Day. It's the home of famous heroes, and their praises have been sung. Willie Waddle, Tory Gillick, Alan Morton and George Young. So when all my life has ended, and when death has made its mark, may they scatter all my ashes on the slopes of Ibrox Park. With the angels I'll be singing up in heaven in a glen. I'll be happy and contented when the boys have won again. On my harp I will be playing in the sky way up above. I'll be singing follow, follow for the Rangers that I love.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Old school boy likes the old modern classics, doesn't he? What a number. What a number.
He certainly does. He certainly does.
You can only laugh, Jim. You can only laugh.
Somebody must have been sitting winding that up there.
I think it was off a gramophone he was playing it. Yeah?
That must have been in that parcel he got delivered earlier on there, man.
No. Old school blue doesn't get parcels delivered. Right, okay. Come and join us, give your thoughts. We had a long debate about it last night, but we'll start turning our attention to the game tomorrow night as we build up to a European game at Ibrox. But these last 24, 36 hours have been, it's what the support wanted. It's what the support wanted. Individuals might have a different view, but if you take a collective, Robert, let's be honest, Martin Stewart, they will feel it. What do you think? Maybe in Bruges game? Was that the catalyst? Was that the start of it? Yeah, was that everybody had lost the plot by then? Is that fair? Or was it further on than that? Was it the performances in the league, the Hearts game and all the other things, but certainly things moved really quickly in football terms, Robert.
Aye, it certainly did, mate. I think the Martin one, obviously, a lot of fans didn't want him in the first place, and I think that's always a hard place to come back from. When you go to a club and the fans are already divided, or more than a good percentage, let's say, don't want you there in the first place. The performances, the results don't help. So I think the writing was always on the wall. You yourself said it wasn't a good fit from the outset. Pre-season game against Bruges, you're questioning things then. Obviously, time comes on. European games, qualifiers, we done okay. I mean, Panathinaikos game is probably our best performance at Ibrox. So you would say pass marks on that, but other than that, the rest of it was dire. And then the other two, as soon as Martin was under pressure, they two come under pressure. And I said earlier, Stuart was under pressure from the minute he came in. This time last year, comments about Clement, when we were all questioning things as well, particularly after the Queen's Park game. And then the writing was on the wall for Clement then as well. So, as you said, it's what the fans wanted. The protests were there. You could hear it, you could see it. Now it's about decisions have been made. You've replaced the manager. The club will do necessities and do the formalities of getting the other two positions filled. But ultimately, as a supporters, our focus, mate, is on the team playing well, getting results. And we've seen that under Danny Rowe, particularly in the league. We've got the league games, we've won points. And Jim said earlier on, some games where a few weeks ago we wouldn't have won. So there's improvements in that sense, but there's still a lot of work to be done. But now the focus is on the squad and getting results and going forward from here on in.
Yes, I'm doing the old traffic light system, and everybody on Rangers Radio, I've got a red, mate. I've got a red. Well, do you think Danny Rowe, go to Jim first and head Smurf? Do you think Danny Rowe's had any input in this, or do you think we're putting two and two together and come up with five? Because I think the decision was maybe made before he came in, but I think he might have cemented it. You know, obviously the media are playing games, Jim.
Aye, I think he's. I don't know if he's been a catalyst yet, but I think he's had his opinion's been listened to.
Smurf, any thoughts?
I would agree with Jim. I think ultimately before you make decisions, well, firstly you look at the Bruges game. So that wouldn't have been a catalyst for it. That would have been confirmation that they needed to go. And that would have been late confirmation as well. You know, you could look at that as result in isolation and you would maybe think they've not acted quick enough. It's got that bad. So you draw all these different threads together and then you've got the new guy in who's interviewed, walked away and come back. And then they fired him. There's no way they've no taken into consideration his opinions, but I don't think his opinion in isolation would have cemented their fate.
Aye, I get that, mate. I get that. You don't become, what you say, the $4.5 billion assets. You don't make your own mind up yet.
100%.
Yeah, you do. You still listen, but you still listen, but you make your own mind up.
Of course, you've got to cultivate the information that's available to you, and your eyes don't lie, your ears don't deceive you. You're hearing and you're seeing, and you look at what you've spent and what you've invested in and what you've believed in, and what you've got is a couple of comedians when you thought you were getting top operators. Ultimately, they've got their fingers burnt. They've been decisive, but they've been measured how they went about it. And I think they'll go again. There's just no shadow of doubt in my mind that this man's going to get this right. I think it's just a matter of time. And I don't think it will be as in the odd title in isolation. I think it will be a concerted period of dominance. And I think that's what he's after. And I think that's what we'll get. It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve for everybody that comes into it. Everybody. And even people that are well versed in the Scottish game or well versed in Rangers have suffered. We've seen Alan McCoy suffer. We've seen John Gregg suffer. Subsequently, John Gregg wouldn't even had a heart attack at one point. So obviously mistakes have been made, but their sacking, and that's what it is a positive step. We've seen baby steps on the park domestically, and we're going in the right direction. We've sacked two inept employees who are administrating the place, shall we say, and that's a step in the right direction. But it's baby steps. We just need to take our time, and we'll get there.
Aye, it's not going to be dull, that's for sure, Robert.
No, mate, it never is. It's what our club's famous for. There's never a quiet moment. We've become accustomed to that over a number of years now. As Smurf said, it's all about going forward here, and you've got to trust that Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marat, I know Smith's opinion in that, the vice owner of another club. But ultimately, these guys decided to take the responsibility as owners, and rightly so, to go and appoint a new manager. Again, that was alarm bells for us as supporters to say they didn't trust Felwell or Stewart with the recruitment of a new manager. And now ultimately they're going to go and find their successors to their roles. So that's what owners are for. Again, right at the start of the season, a lot of fans were asking the 49ers or the owners to come out and do some action. They've done it. We've got what we've wanted, as you said, and it will be interesting to see how we go. And it ultimately, again, we keep saying it as supporters, it will take time. And I know you don't get a lot of that in football these days, but if there's an appointment before the January window, the issues aren't going to be resolved in January. Let's be honest. You're talking a good 3 or 4 windows to try and get it right. But that's the main aim, is get it right. First year appointment now, and then over time, a successful playing squad and consistently. What about you, Ox? Do you think Danny Rose had a big impact on that?
I don't make my gut, and this is just a gut feeling, and I'm with Smurf in this. I think the decision was made earlier. So I think maybe Danny Rowe might have confirmed some of the thoughts, mate. But I think these people had made their mind up. They were getting hassle when they didn't need to get hassle. Yeah. They bought off, for instance, the thing with his boy, I mean, that never passed the sniff test. Even if the guy was brilliant at his job, it just didn't feel right at the time. And ultimately it's been proved that it wasn't right. It was a silly move. I can't believe that somebody's meant to be intelligent in a senior role in an organisation that's so public thought that was a good idea. And that for a breakdown of trust and confidence for being so stupid was enough for me, mate. So I think it might have confirmed what they were thinking, but I think they'd made their mind up, if that makes sense. And I think when they've maybe seen what Danny's saying, what he needs, or the squad needs, and the team needs, and who has to go and who's never going to cut it, I think it might frighten them, mate. Because of what we're seeing, and it's been confirmed to Danny day in, day out, they're going to have to go again, to coin Jim's phrase and Smurf's phrase. And that might frighten them. And maybe not frighten them financially, but they might think, wow, this was a real bad summer for us, and we can't do it. We can't get down that road again. We need the right people in. Ultimately, it could be a blessing in disguise. I think you were coming in there, Smurf.
Aye. My concern is that this guy he's well public. He's been well publicised, saying that he's always been a football fan. Somebody when he was getting shown around Ibrox was quoted as referring to it as soccer, and he just stopped him in their tracks and said, "Look, it's football. Been a football fan for years, etc., etc." I think he played as a goalkeeper as well. He's come into the club, but doesn't know the landscape. It's a new business venture for him. It's and he's brought in as a partner, and not the senior partner. He's the major investor. He's brought in the 49ers. Now, he's been leaning on them. They've brought in a manager, a CEO, and Felwell in his role. And they were unmitigated disasters. So it's not even Christmas. The three of them's get the Dan Mac, right? So they've got to go again. They've replaced the manager. So far, so good. We've got to replace the other two, and then we've got to get the recruitment right. He's still going to lean on the 49ers' expertise. If it goes wrong again, I think there could be a fracture in that relationship. And that's a concern. I think Rangers are too big to be involved in this kind of franchise, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think Scottish football's landscape's too unique. And it's not a club that should be vying for a title, and there's half a dozen teams of similar size who could win it in any given year. It's a whole different ballgame. that's a concern for me going forward.
Hopefully, it's no concern they get it right, mate, and then it proves
If you get it
correct,
right, it's an irrelevance. It's an irrelevance. It's not even but
I get your point, mate, because I think I picked up, I think it was Simon Jordan, I've not seen the interview, but he was saying they've not got after a good start. And it would be hard to argue that they have, Jim, because they brought in Fairwell, or they might have been involved with that. They might have been involved with the Russell Martin one, and then they've gave them some rope and they've hung themselves, because that's the mistake they've made. But however, they've rectified it reasonably quickly. I think finances have played a bit of this. Revenue streams falling, the interest waning in European games, empty seats at league matches, 10,000 tickets doing at some of the qualifiers, plus even the Alloa game in a summer's day was low crowd. I think they've looked at that and went, these guys have cost us an absolute arm and a leg. And if they actually sat down and dissected it, it would be frightening. The damage that Fairwell and Martin done really, really quickly. Jim?
I think Fairwell's done a lot of damage to the club, and I'm just hoping it's no. It can be sorted without too much surgery. I think they put too much trust in that guy, and I think if what he was Billy Big Balls, and he thought he could have done what he wanted. Well, he was doing what he wanted to an extent. He thought we were a club with absolute mediocre garbage. And I'm just hoping it can be repaired without any more damage. They say, I think a lot of the players are going to need moved on, guys. They're going to need to be moved. But who's going to buy them?
Well, Jim, as I keep saying, I've said for, as a supporter, say you want rid of him, You've gave them big contracts, Robert. They're sitting with 4 years to go. That's the problem, mate. They're not playing. They're not in the team. They're not in the. You're trying to sell somebody. He's a good player. Well, he can't be that good. He's not even in your squad. It's a real difficult thing.
That is, mate. That's at any club. That's at any club, mate. It's difficult. Again, I agree with Smurf. I think Chermity would benefit in a loan move. But again, what club's going to take him on loan? Because from what we have seen, they'll see the exact same as us. How can he improve a squad elsewhere if he can't improve our squad? I mean, I know you could say the environment, the league, the clubs set up, whatever the way we play our games and things like that. Like, some players do go elsewhere and improve, but at the end of a loan deal, he comes back to us. Does he improve our club, or does he just improve as a player, but not necessarily bring something else to our game? So we need to try and get players out, but it is a hard market. Again, January is difficult to get players in, never mind players out. I suppose the only kind of silver lining, Ox, is a lot of players who are sitting comfortable on these big monies. Some of them are coming to the end of their contract in the summer. Tavernier, Suter, Matondo, Double. They're away in the summer. But that's 6 months still paying their wages with no improvement. So I know Smurf said earlier on, send Giga back, send Aaron's back. If we send them back but don't bring him in, how short are we then? So you've got to be careful of what we give out before we can bring in as well. Trying to balance it's a hard ask.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons you've maybe hit the nail on the head, mate, is because of people are coming to an end and contracts are finishing. I don't see how you could have gave that combination, the trilogy, Martin, Fairwell and Stewart directing them, mate. I don't know how you could have been forward with them selecting anything, mate, to debut a football club, because they got it so wrong. Everybody can make a mistake, but this was mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And the naivety of bringing boys into Damien's work. Smurf, am I being old-fashioned?
Oh, no, not at all. It's, look, you've got to put, to win at Rangers, you need people of a certain character, right? The ability to play for Rangers should be a given. You shouldn't be there if you don't have it. It's a certain character you need, and they're only boys. You don't know they don't even know what their character is themselves. And they come out. The boy Giga looked really good in that first European tie. I thought he looked like he had something about him, and I thought as he grows, he'll grow into becoming a good Rangers player. Oh, I mean, see him with that Celtic game, man. It was every time the ball came, he was just punting it anyway. It was like a hot totty, wasn't it? Just get rid of it. And this was a guy that looked calm and self-assured. If Ant-Man looked something different, pacey, hit the byline, physical, big, good numbers, and all that. And the Dutch league disappeared up his backside. There's too many variables. There's too much to it. You need experienced players of a certain pedigree and a certain level to come in and get a winning culture in the first team and go and have a bit of success. Then you can start adding 2 or 3 bits of young quality that you can bring into the club, and then hopefully you can turn the coin. You're not going to go out, knit a team of Waynes together and win the league. And that there shows you what I would describe as disdain for our league. Disdain. Faith Elwell. He thought he could do that. I mean, the arrogance of that is costing his job and perhaps his career. The naivety of that, And you look at again. I feel sorry for the chairman because, he's sitting on multiple companies with assets of reputedly £4.5 billion. Well, he's no sitting there making every single decision. Any business, sizable business you run, to varying degrees by delegation. And in terms of numbers, that turns out, Rangers will probably be quite a small business, but a very, very public business. So
emotional business, Smurf.
Correct. And so what happens is it's reputational damage. He himself is suffering reputational damage because he's employed people, delegated that responsibility to them, that they're supposed to be shrewd operators and good administrators, and they're three clowns, honestly. That's what it is. And he's the guy that's left with the egg in his face. There's no danger that was made 48 hours ago or 36 hours ago, that decision. Their fate was sealed weeks ago. It was just calculated, shrewd guy and how he was going to go about it. And the search for the replacements would be well underway.
Yeah, but what counts? Yeah, I've started looking already, which was another surprise yesterday. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see them saying that. I thought when it initially broke, I thought, right, something's happened and they've decided enough's enough. But it looks as if they've been discussing it for a while. The way it came across, you piece all the pieces together, Jim, and that surprised me that they managed to keep it so quiet, considering our club being our club. Everybody wants every bit of information. Nothing's coming out of there because nobody had heard a thing about this. It just went before it went official, And obviously, it came out a wee bit earlier, and everybody thought it was pure rumours, clickbait, and then it just grew arms and legs and came from some reputable sites. You knew it was real, but there wasn't an inkling on Sunday, Jim. An inkling, not one.
No, I maybe the signs were it when the whole entourage were all there on Saturday. So I think they were all there. At the game, again, it probably wasn't highlighted, but
carry on, mate.
You maybe find that the people who are investing in them as well have maybe went like that as well behind the scenes here. Get them out of here. Because it's Smurf said there, it's no the same, it's invested in this. They're part of this 49ers group. The other investors might have been going like that, but hopefully they're going like that behind the scenes. Get them out of there. Look at their profits. And did you see the 10,000 empty seats sitting at Ibrox? The way things have been going, I think there was a danger of the crowds dipping again after that on Saturday there, because Saturday there, to me was as worst. It was as bad as anything that we've seen this season.
It's bigger than that. It's big because really, when you think about it, sorry to interrupt there.
No, sorry.
See, like say, right. This is just the same massive news coming out of Scotland all the time. You know, wheels have come off, things at Rangers, new regime, etc., etc. And then you look at Leeds United, who are playing the Premiership, and with the best will in the world, the wheels could come off for them easy, right, as it could for any club. Wheels have fell off Liverpool's regime at the moment. You know, it can happen to any club in that environment. So if the wheels come off Leeds United and say they're in a relegation battle or go down, and things aren't going well in Scotland, the reputational damage to the wider organisation, they'll be looking at that. So they've got to show up where they can. They've got to get things right, and also, you know, if you've got guys that are really, really hyper successful, and they're sitting there, they're confronted with that, they must be thinking, you know, I wouldn't even have this guy as my secretary. You know what I mean? He's running that football club. No chance. Do you know what I mean? You're kidding me? Man, I've got a job. You can drive me, pick me up at the airport, maybe. You're joking. So he's got to get rid of him. He's mortified. He's got to be. He's got. Oh, I can't believe I get this kid. And then the accounts came out. He's earned £250,000 and lost millions in fans' revenue. Nuts. It's bonkers. Don't get a point in Europe. It's lunacy. We'd be struggling in the Conference League. We'd be struggling in that. So we're miles off of where we were last year, and last year wasn't good enough. So it's no a case that we've no kicked on. We've went massively backwards, and it's all under their stewardship. And the guy Stewart, I felt sorry for Stewart. I mean, he's just in the wrong movie. Somebody's gave how he's got that job, I'll never know, because he is in the wrong movie. He's turned left when he should have turned right. Up, he was miles off. I felt sorry for him. Put a camera in front of him. I mean, he's running down rabbit holes. Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it you're seeing.
I don't think it was a good fit as things developed. He might have been a good fit to come in and look under the bonnet, Robert, before we maybe bring some callers in. I'll bring you in. To somebody to come under and look under the bonnet and start looking at the business and then feed back to the takeover. He might have been good at that, but as then his position grew and they come in, and then you want him, he's got to be involved in the spotlight of the club. He was never a good fit, was he?
No, he wasn't, mate. And you're probably right. At the time when he came in, he was probably a guy that could have done the job for a period of time. And when you mention like the takeover in the summer, there's probably an opportunity there that they could have looked for a new direction at that point. With the takeover coming in and just a freshness that we were all expecting, you could probably say if he went then, he'd have probably went amicably. He came in, done his job that he was meant to do at the time. But that would have been a good kind of time to change it up a wee bit, in my opinion. But again, he came under more scrutiny as time got on, and ultimately he's paid the price for the mistakes that he's oversaw as well, as much as Kevin Thelwell has.
Yeah. We'll be joined by George. Evening, George.
How you doing, lads? All right? George Go Bathrooms here. How are you?
George, how you doing, mate?
Evening, George.
No,
It's a pun. It's a pun.
I'm just looking for Evie. I heard he's on the show tonight.
All right, the pun. How's it going?
I'm all good, lads. No, but I'm actually looking for Stevie McPherson. I've got 2 tickets for him, but I can't seem to get a hold of him anywhere.
I'll message him now, mate. I'll message him now. Is it 2 tickets for a buffet?
2 tickets for the buffet. Don't say that. No, I've got 2 tickets for him, but I can't get a hold of him anywhere.
Right, okay.
I heard my good friend was on the night, so I thought I'd give him a wee phone in.
There you go. The floor, George. Good to hear from you, mate.
Good evening, Barry. Oh, the big man's the mastermind of the Rangers fit team just now, so he is. He's a pin.
I believe he could get the way he's playing at the moment, mate. He could get a game in the first team. Never mind the fit team.
Aye, the big man's saying wonders of the fit team, you know.
Wouldn't it be hard to get a game in the first team, you know? Jeez, oh, things aren't great. Hopefully we can turn a corner.
Right,
no great.
A message the big man.
Aye. I know he's always on here, but he's went hiding. I don't know what's the matter with him. I've got a couple of tickets here for him. What about yourselves? Are you going along? Or what's the story of the game?
Thursday night?
Yes.
I think a lot of the people for the show, geography will keep me away, but I'm sure our Jim will be there. Jim?
We'll be there.
No, I think he's got a hire.
Ah, well, it depends if it's in London. If he gets a London road, and I mean London, right the way down to London and back again, he'll not go in again. You know what he's like, George.
Oh, I think he's too close to paint, man. Is our James? By the way, one of the best players in the team, by the way, for the Sunday football. So he is. Must admit, he's not a bad player.
Well, I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos for let's just say Scousland, mate, and wow, if he's a player, mate, I'll need to get a boots out again.
Aye, all good. Listen, I've just come on and introduced myself, and I wish you all the best, lads. You do a great job, man. Keep it going. Just a bit of the team couldn't. Just a bit of the team couldn't put in the kind of effort you've put in. Be great.
Aye, well, the same commitment, mate. And you do a good job for all yours as well, mate. And yep. Big Stevie's on his way. He's joined us. We'll be joined by Big Stevie. There you go, George.
Oh, here we go.
I hear somebody's looking for me. Is that correct?
I think you get 2 tickets for a buffet, Biggie. That's what he said.
Aye. Oh, well, by the way, nothing would surprise me with a big one. Big one gets me tickets for everywhere. Anyway, what was I going to say? I'm hearing Jim saying Big George could get a game for the first team. Is it the same George we're talking about?
Yes.
Deary me.
Yes, Stevie, what are you trying to say? I've not got 2 left feet anywhere. I've had the operation.
What was I going to say? I'm sure the Darvo manager maybe take you up.
Oh, we're not getting into this. It's getting late at night.
Aye.
It's getting late at night. Boys, if you're looking for me, I'll be Ibrox. I'll be the one-man Martin, the snack bar, the one that does the good cheeseburgers. That's where at the level I'm at.
I'll keep my pigeons off Walter Smith's statue next to the snack bar. That's my job. Anyway, listen, it's good to be back on. Listen to some of the chit-chat tonight. Look, it's like, we'll just go to dig our heels in now and see where it takes us. Lena Martel, one game at a time, innit? It's as plain and simple as that, boys. And fill the stadium the best we can. Get behind the team.
No Steve, no excuses, all excuses.
Listen, the 2 American boys, the buck stops for them. They brought the boys on board. They've made a mistake. I think they realise that. I mean, they've done what they've done now. So let's see who they bring in. Let's see how things change. Because can I say something? And I've had my medication. We have a good January 1 day. We could be running for this league. Trust me. And as bad as a start we've had, and as bad as we think we are, the other mobs are not that great either. Hearts will crumble, and that other mob are not what they make out there. So if we have a good January 1 day, things could change for us. But as it is now, 1 game at a time and get behind Danny boy. That's it.
And Stevie, where do you go if you need any bathroom supplies? What company do we use?
You go to go bathrooms for all your toilet needs. Big George and the crew will come and rip your toilet out and put a lovely Union Jack ceiling in for you, and red, white and blue tiles on the floor, and they'll do a good job for you. Very cheap, very professional. Go bathrooms is a place to be if you're a good Blue Nose.
You have to say that again, but don't mention the cheap bits.
Sorry, you just go there before me. Yeah, do you know, this is how confident I'm in my work. If we do a bathroom for you upstairs, I will give you a free brolly in case water comes into your kitchen. How's that sound?
I mean, what can you say? What can you say to that? What can you say to that, Smurf?
Sounds like Thelwell's, man.
I said water, not pee.
Can I just say, my advertisement was for single parents. Right, boys, listen.
Right, lads, it's been emotional as well. I'm going to go. Thank you very much for having us on, lads. Keep up the good work.
Brilliant, mate. Cheers,
mate.
Hold
on, before you go, we got a box. Is it away?
He's away. He gave your tickets away, mate. You weren't fast enough.
He doesn't get tickets. He's got a box.
You have to message him. You have to message him, yeah?
Yeah, I'll get a hold of him. Right, listen, keep up the good work. But listen, boys, we have a good January window. Things could change for us. Just dig our heels in and see what it took. We know there's been mistakes. The two boys, they've come in. They've made the mistakes. So I think they realise things weren't going to work. The fans, see when you lose the fans or the dressing room, it's time to rock and roll in it. You know that. So you need to, and they've done it. In fairness, they've done it. They've made the changes. So let's see who they bring in, and let's take it by there. But to all the Rangers Radios listeners out there, go bathrooms for your needs. I'll talk to you later on.
Brilliant, big man. Brilliant.
Over and out, boys.
Night, Stevie.
That's all your fault, Jim.
Oh my God, man.
I think we need to try some application.
The big man's doing well. We're all fit team now, by the way, Ox.
Fair play to him, mate. Fair play to you all, by the way. Fair play to you all. You know, it's a commitment, mate, and he's there. And he's
aye.
Try and drive other people and improve other people, mate. It's admirable what he's doing. Yeah. Try and help people when they're a wee bit down and try and get them fitter. It's brilliant.
That's a good setup. Good setup and a great bunch of guys.
Fantastic. And obviously, Bob Blue knows his mate, yeah.
Oh, big time. Oh, aye.
The big man will be a better player when he comes out his shell, but
aye. The big man is a player.
You know, once he comes out his shell.
I've called him many times on here. We call him the pin. He is the pin.
Good.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a very good way. What he actually does for the team and his position he plays in the team.
He's a pivot. Listen, we're going forward just before we'll get a game on Thursday night, you know, and for the last, maybe since the game at the weekend, you know, yesterday's announcement became a sideshow. It's important. We want to try and win the game. Keep the momentum going, Smurf. Yeah, we can't take it lightly. It's revenue to the club as well.
I just hope the fans turn out now and get behind the new regime, get behind the manager, and are positive. And you know, hopefully that's best for the players onto the pitch, and hopefully we get some points on the board. Hopefully we get a result. And as you say, it's all revenue, and this can be the next step or improvement and a catalyst going forward. You know, it's going to be, we're going to be fighting for every point, scrapping for every win. We've not got the squad we should have. We know that, but it's up to these players to show that they've got what it takes to be here. And I've got to be confident. I'm confident. I've got confidence in the manager, and hopefully that's going to that's that confidence. Fairy manager will spread into the dressing room and into the players and build on the domestic success we've had of late. It's as long as they fight hard enough and show heart, desire, commitment, all that usual stuff that we take for granted that's been missing. I think we can take another step forward.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. Robert?
Aye, obviously Europe's been a bit of a disaster so far, mate. No points on the board, and up until obviously Danny Rule came in, the performances merited that to be where we were. You've got to try and take some of that league form, winning games into Europe now, and as much as you could probably write off Europe, you start getting some points on the board and results go your way. You never know how high you can actually climb, and it could just amplify a wee bit of the work Danny Rule's done if we're able to even get in the next stage of Europe. But obviously, one game at a time, as Big Stevie says there, win the game first and foremost. You're at home, use the home advantage, and I think the news yesterday, it may cause a bit of a different atmosphere. The last European game was pretty flat, kind of atmospheric wise. I think there might be a bit of a crowd lift on Thursday night, and hopefully that transfers onto the pitch and the players get a lift as well, and they give us something to cheer about going home and kind of proud of a performance that, as you said, just keeps that momentum running going.
Do the players get a lift for this? I don't see it personally, Jim, but some people might see it different.
I don't know every day. Just don't know. I mean, that's us new draft to fifth in this league. One of them just scuddied that Hibs there.
Yes, mate. Yes, I've seen that, mate. I've seen that coming through. But we've recorded again, me and Robert, and we're going to watch it later. But no, you've ruined it for us. Thanks very much, mate.
That was a great game, mate.
Thanks, mate.
You'll enjoy it. Aye.
If you just fast forward to the goals, do Robert?
Aye, what minutes were they in, Jim?
You just need to sit and watch it.
There you go. We're worried about all these teams, and we just need to keep winning. There's no reason why we can't win every game, but with this squad we've got, Jim, you're no confident, mate, because they've not shown the levels of consistency or performance that you're going to blow any team away, because we're not making enough chances. We look as if we can see goals at the back, and we're not creating them for midfield or the wings. There's no a good combination there, but hopefully things will maybe start improving now, as maybe hopefully a bit of confidence, and then maybe a couple of bodies in a few weeks' time we start improving, and you never know what it could take us, mate.
We never know, but I'm like yourself. I don't know if the Gordon Jones, the name moving out of there, and all that actually makes any impact on the players.
I think players are unique characters, mate. You've got to be selfish as part of a team to be a pro, mate. But you always, there's no excuses there. And I don't know how much interaction they would have with them day to day, if I'm honest.
I know.
If any at all. It might be the fans that get a lift that maybe help the players out smurf.
Aye, and maybe the legacy players, maybe it'll give them a lift. Maybe Chermiti so much, it's, maybe that kind of a bearing. But really what I want is all these players are going to come and go. The loan players will go back. The ones that have come in and only good enough will be off. The legacy players that come to the end of their tenure, they'll be leaving. But we've got a new manager, and I really want him to get some results. But for him going forward to sort of build his confidence, and it's not an easy environment to be in, and coming into a sort of trail of destruction he's inherited isn't easy. He's only a young man, and so I just hope for him going forward, thinking about next season and that, Philip Clement come in and showed early signs that he could be successful. the wheels came off him. I just want this guy to grow into the club and into the role. And so I think it's as important for him going forward as it is for all of us in the club, that we get results. And hopefully the players will respond, you know. Hopefully I can get a tune out of them.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. I don't see it for some of them, but nothing would give me greater pleasure. I know it's easy to say, Robert. Nothing would give me greater pleasure if I'm proved wrong. Asgard starts consistently creating and scoring goals. Chamiti looks 6'4", Burrows in the net, terrorising defences and scoring goals. Gasman can do one man, Ant-Man can do the other, creating chances and making teams think about it. You know, nothing would give me greater pleasure. But at this moment in time, I don't see it, mate, if I'm honest.
No, and it's hard to disagree with that, mate, based on what we've seen collectively and individually. Again, I'm like yourself. I would love to start seeing that happen. Danny Rose came in, and he's got a reaction from some players, and that's showing the results we've got. Again, Jim touched on it earlier on. There's games that we've won points in this season, or won the game, where a few weeks ago you'd have lost it. So there's been a change there. It is just going game by game now for these players to be consistent. And as much as Danny Rule has improved some aspects, there's still a lot of work to be done across the board on the pitch. The big thing for me is on Thursday night, given the injuries we've got, we kind of have a rough idea, or we could easily guess what the team's going to be from the weekend going into Thursday night as well. There's not a lot of room for change, particularly at the back line. So that team that started in Saturday is more than likely to have one or two changes, but at most that's it. And it is just trying to get the players to have belief in themselves, go and take the game by the scruff of the neck and get some points on the board in Europe. But again, you judge it on what you've seen so far. There's no a game changer in your squad, mate, and that's the big difference. There's no a game changer, whether that's somebody starting or somebody coming off the bench. It'll be interesting to see if Chermiti comes back into the fold. I know he had a bit of a knock at the weekend. He wasn't in the squad, but Europe, he's been favoured. Now that Farewell's away, does that impact his starting position? Because a lot of people thought he was getting started because the price tag, you had to play him in a European stage. Be interesting to see if he does come back into the fold in, mate, because as Smurf said earlier on, we're not playing to Miovski's strength. But what striker are we playing to strength? None.
Oh, we're not playing to Tom Stoltman's strength, mate, the way we're playing at the moment, you know.
He did a good job at centre half, I'll tell you
that. Look, Chamiti. Oh, that will be interesting. Thoughts, Jim?
Has there been any updates? I know you're probably going to find out tomorrow. Has there been any kind of wee breaking bits about these injuries that we've got?
No, we'll hear them tomorrow, mate. We'll hear them tomorrow when the press conference comes. And he's been very honest, Smurf, in his press conference here last week when he said that Danilo was going to play. That was a surprise to me. Yeah, he said, no, he'll definitely start. It's unusual, but he's quite a straight shooter, Danny Rolla.
Aye, and I think, you know, he's sending a message to other players. He's telling you that Chermiti's not getting a game, as it were, or he's certainly not going to be a starter. I don't know. And you start putting two together. Did they know that they two were for a high jump? You know, was they worried? You know, you wonder. There's been rumours in there that Thelwell had an influence on team selection. I've heard that, although I doubt it, but I've heard that. So, aye, it's he's not a shouting baller, but he's a straight talker, and I like that. And in all honesty, I think Danilo should be the starter. I think he might not be what Rangers need going forward, but he's probably the best option we've got at the club. And so he's going to need miles in his legs and minutes in his legs, and hopefully come good.
don't know. The last 2 games that he started, mate, I think he's been poor, Daniel. I don't know. He might be the best, but he's not the best on form, mate. And I really don't know if he's an out-and-out centre forward.
No, I think he links play well.
He's got a bit of football intelligence, mate. But I'll tell you what, when he disappears out again, mate, he becomes absolutely non-existent.
That wee reverse ball at Hampden, where he put, was it Raskin he put through? He's got that in his locker. I'm not saying he's a 10, but he can drop deep, and he's a good football player. You know what I mean? And I think when he went off, I think Rangers dropped off a wee bit. So I don't know. I think he's a confidence player, and he's a guy that's going to need a lot of minutes. But Rangers still get time, do you?
He should be getting now. I mean, he scored the winner at Easter Road. He's been in and about the team now since Danny's been involved. He's not had to go to international breaks for obvious reason. His fitness should be up there now, and he should be influencing games. I think he might be all right in a 2. I don't see him as a 1. I don't know what you think, Jim.
I think he needs to be playing with somebody up front beside him. I thought he was non-existent at the weekend there again. But see, regarding on the shouting the ball, I don't know when he's kind of picked up at the weekend there. I thought the new kind of set piece guy was out there getting a heavy werewolf there, a few.
Aye, he flew, didn't he? Flew at the trap.
Oh, he was getting a few of them at stinking, so he was.
That's what it looked like. Aye,
it looked like that to me, you know.
No a lot of room for, no a lot of option for change, as you're saying, Robert. If Cornelius and Suter are out, we've only really got the 2 fit centre halves. But do you think he could change the formation?
I think if you're starting Danilo up front, I think you've got to change formation, because I agree with yourselves. I've said it many times in the show, as you know. For me, Danilo is not a lone striker. He needs a partnership. Whether that be 2 strikers or somebody like a Mikey Moore. I know he's out injured, but you've seen where he was picking up space and kind of beside a striker, creating chances the last couple of games. I think you've got to change formation if you can to support a striker, because that's how you're going to win games. The more chances you create, the more chances you're going to get a score and winning the game. It's not rocket science. The only issue is you change formation at the back, you're still limited in what you can do. Even if you went a 3, what would your 3 be? Tavernier, Jigger and Fernandez. It's not been tested. Could you trust it in a European game where you want to get points on the board? I don't think you could, if I'm being honest. So it's how you maybe adjust the front line. Do you drop one of the wingers because they've not been effective and put somebody up beside Danilo? But again, who is there to kind of play that role? Asgard hasn't done anything. You're then asking a midfielder to maybe go and do it. Or if you put Kasama more central. But is he done enough? On form, no. So again, you're limited with options. Bayrami's not in the European squad. So you've actually got more midfielders options than anything else, Ox.
I was quite looking forward to Thursday. You told me all that, mate.
Sorry, mate, burst the bubble there, but it just shows you where we are in terms of squad depth when a couple of injuries come in, especially at the back line.
So spot on, mate. That's the problem, mate. We've got guys that were brought in, mate, that you're not looking forward to, and there's nothing to offer. That we've got Max Aarons who's come in, and I don't know what the deal will be. All right, come on Saturday. For the wages we'll be paying him and what we're getting at him, their return. There's Joe Rothwell, who's not even hardly been on the pitch the last few weeks. Their return, wages plus transfer. It's there's a lot of things wrong, but we can't get it all sorted out. We can only start in January, and hopefully Danny can sit down whoever he'll be discussing it with to move it forward, so we're not in this mess again. Because let's be honest, Smurf, as we wind up the show tonight, we are in a mess, and it's self-inflicted.
Aye, it's we're in a mess. She say it's self-inflicted, and it's going to only in the fullness of time will we be able to unravel it. But the work starts now. It starts tomorrow, and ultimately, we've got to find some success on the pitch somehow. How do go about that? That's what the manager's getting paid the big bucks for, innit? Tomorrow for me, I think I like the way Gerrard played with the two sort of false tens, two sort of inverted wingers. And I think if he starts Danilo, I would like to see maybe a system like that with two guys getting closer to him to support him, But again, that's dictated by what's available to you. You've got your injuries with your centre backs and that. I don't know. He's just got to try and cobble a team together, and we'll see what that is in the fullness of time.
Aye, it'd be interesting, what's going to happen. And obviously, you've got guys coming back. I've led you for industry, injury, Dowell, Sterling, Matondo, but we've no confidence in them neither, if we're honest, Jim. But we've reached that time in the evening, gentlemen. Last word for your good self, the Smurf.
Aye, thanks for having me on, chaps, and hopefully we'll be chatting tomorrow night. Full of the joys of spring. We get a result. Aye, onwards and upwards. Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, mate. Jimbo.
Aye, great show again. Good to hear from our good friend. A couple of good friends coming on there. As I'm saying, we just need to keep things going for the Rangers.
Here, mate. Here. Good to hear from you, mate, and thanks for all the stuff you do with the community, mate. It's always appreciated, mate. Robert.
Aye, good show again tonight, mate. Good to be on with Jim and yourself. As Muff says, got to go look forward to Thursday now. Off-field matters will take care of themselves. We are just all focused about the squad and results and performances. So let's kickstart that again on Thursday night, and we'll let the off-field matters take care of themselves. Cheers for having me again, mate. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, here, mate. Listen, thanks to Smurf for joining us, taking the time to join us, and George, Big George, for Go Bathrooms, for taking the time to come into the call. And of course, we're joined by the one and only, Big Stevie for the drum who popped in. Good to hear for the big man. Thanks to Jim and Robert for doing the show. Fox, obviously taking it easy, mate. And of course, Old School Blue beavering away in the background. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, talking of all things Rangers as we build up to European tie eyebrows. And never a bad thing. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take it away, Old School Blue.